Hey guys, it's Barrett with the Gimpy Camper. So we're coming at you from Magnolia Beach in Texas. It's near Corpus Christi. We're gonna have a video about that too coming out soon. But I just wanted to tell you guys, like, I'm very proud of my recent project with my truck. I did a truck rebuild. For those of you that don't know, we have a 2016 Ram 2500 with a Cummins. And it's an outdoorsman edition, so it sits up a little bit higher. You know, it's always been one of those things that I've always really liked in my truck. But in the depths of YouTube, I spent some time watching some videos and become a little addicted with spray-on bed liner paint jobs. I'll admit it, I have an addiction. So basically, for those of you that don't know, we started out, I wanted to start with some easy projects. Number one, back in the day I did the truck bed with Raptor liner. That flaked off pretty decently because I didn't have enough in the one kit to do 2 coats on like you're supposed to after it covered the white bed. Now with that, I will never run out again. I always, with these other projects, I got way more. That way you can get a good thick coat on there and you don't have to worry about it. So the second project that I did was a 4Runner that my grandfather bought 25 years ago that just got passed down to my daughter. So we wanted to freshen it up a little bit, put some new wheels on there, and I did black around the bumpers and the body panels at the bottom, and it's just black bed liner. I really like the way that it comes out. I was going to color match it, but she actually wanted to do black, so we did the black. And then I wanted to do my truck. Now I watched a lot of videos, a lot of really nice looking trucks. Some of them I had a hard time picking out the color because I really liked silver at first, and some people were putting metal flake in it and this and that and the other. And so I really wanted to do that, but I didn't want to practice on my truck. I wanted to do something else before. So I actually bought my wife a Honda Pilot from a salvage auction. Now a lot of people don't like the color, but it's actually for her business, which is a freeze-dried candy business. She does freeze-dried candies and fruits and stuff like that. And because of that, she has like navy and yellow as her colors, and so that's what we went with. Now I will say that that project turned out great. I'm happy with it. It definitely doesn't look stock, but I'm very happy with it. And the yellow was a lot more vibrant than I thought it would be. But I will say that it turned out great. So that didn't help me stop my addiction. And so started putting together like this project for my truck. So this is just going to be an introduction for that, okay? So I'm going to kind of go over some of the things that we did to the truck here, and then I'm going to have individual videos from the bed liner paint job to why we chose it, to how we do it, to the accessories that I put on, where I sourced them from, what I was able to find off of Marketplace. I'm going to share everything with you guys. You may or may not want to watch it. Hopefully you do. I think that it's entertaining. I really liked this project. I'll say that I'm pretty much done. I got a couple of little things to tidy up, but I'm really tired of working on cars. And speaking of, my daughter was nice enough. She's 16 years old. The Honda Pilot we talked about, she kind of wrecked it a little bit, rear-ended somebody a few weeks ago. So now I got to go home and rebuild that again. And I just rebuilt the front end 2 months ago. So it is what it is. At least nobody was hurt. All right, so let's talk about the truck. So, number one, our project was sponsored by Velocitent. Velocitent is a company that sells you tent based on that you can mix in with the Raptor liner, okay? Now I have a whole video about that, but essentially the more you buy, the more you save. And you can buy samples, which is actually the Raptor liner that's sprayed on the cards. You just pull up their pictures that's got their different colors, and you just sort out which colors you want to try. And again, with that, the more you order, the cheaper they are. End up being $2 or $3 a piece if you order a few of them. And so I got like all the ones of the blues for the blue car and the yellows and a bunch of different greens because I decided I wanted to do like a military green. So like I said, they sponsored the color for that. I still bought the Raptor liner. You have to get the tintable version. There's tintable and there's black. But I still bought all that. I spent way too much money on this truck. But the paint job itself, we're saying sponsored by them. They've been great to work with. And so their information will be down below. Now, some of the other things that we did on top of the Raptor liner paint job, which like I say, was just to touch the surface of on this video, we did off-road bumpers, which I actually found on Marketplace. I always wanted some, but I've always been too cheap for it. I did a roof rack, which I was actually looking for like a low profile roof rack. The one that I ended up with is the Armordillo Roof Rack. I added lights galore. I got rock lights on both sides that are individually controlled. I've got 4 Harbor Freight lights in the front for off-road lights. I've got a 22-inch light bar in the back. There's extra auxiliary backup lights built into the off-road bumper. There's shackles built into the bumpers. There's stuff everywhere. There's an onboard air system that we put in. Because we were putting in the onboard air system, we did go ahead and put airbags in the suspension. They were off of Amazon. They're the Torque brand. I've really liked them so far. There's new shocks. There's a level kit with new Thurin springs and a drag link. There's HD upgraded steering components that come with the tie rod and the other. I always want to say drag link, but it's not called a drag link that goes from the pitman arm to the tie rod. I'll put that here because I can never remember the word for it. We got new wheels. I found that they were brand new, but I found them on Facebook Marketplace as a closeout deal. We had just recently replaced the tires. I got 2 cargo boxes to put on top of the roof rack. That way it'd be a little extra storage. My thought at the time was to put all my stuff that takes up my internal storage under my seats and stuff, like my tie downs and stuff like that I hardly ever use. I could claim my storage area back in my truck for things that I'd actually use a lot, and I could put that stuff up in one of the cargo boxes. But then my OCD's like, if you buy one, you need 2 because it's got to be symmetrical. You know how it is. And so we ended up doing 2. And then in between the 2, there's a Hornblaster Airhorn, and that son of a gun is loud. That's the don't cut me off 3000. Somebody cuts you off in the camper, you go, meh. Also, the only things that are tied into the electrical system of the truck, because I've had issues before where I've had electrical problems after I installed all this stuff, said I'd never do it again, but I got an Auxbeam switch panel in the truck, and that has 12 circuits that you can flip on or off. That's where the air horn's hooked up to. That's where all those light bars and stuff's hooked up to. Not the off-road Harbor Freight Roadshock edge lights on the front, the big lights, because they pull too much amperage. They were, if I remember right, I think I calculated those at 38 amps for the 4 lights. So I actually used 2 of their wiring harness kits to install those because I didn't want to do something wrong with those. I have a paddle inside, a paddle switch near those 2 light switches that you can increase or decrease the amount of air that's in the airbags on the truck. With the air system, I also have an air outlet on the front bumper, and I have an air outlet on the back bumper. What else? I'll have an air gauge inside that it's a dual gauge, and it shows the air pressure of the whole system, and it shows the air pressure in the airbags. So really like that. And I'll tell you guys, we didn't do this quick. It took 2 or 3 months, but I wanted to make it look like it was done at the factory. So I did inside the door jambs. I took everything off that would come off. I took the bed off the truck. I actually sprayed underneath. I sprayed the frame with bed liner underneath that. Now I will say, a lot of that bed liner that I sprayed on the frame on the under part of the frame because I'd had an oil leak. It actually didn't stick a lot, even though I used the epoxy anti-corrosive primer. The primer didn't stick to it, so then the Raptor liner didn't stick to it. But it's because I had an oil leak. Now I did wash it off with the pressure washer and some degreaser first, but I didn't like scrub it down. But the biggest thing for me is when I took the bed off, there was some surface rust on the frame underneath the bed. So all that should be good. I wire wheeled some of it. Then I used like a rust converter on it, and then I put the anti-corrosive primer on top of it. So all that should be great. Now this, trip down to Texas was the first time we actually took it out, and I will say that it drives like a new truck. I've always thought it had a pretty smooth ride, but after all these suspension upgrades and stuff, it blows me away how smooth of a ride it is. Now that being said, in Louisiana and Mississippi, those roads are horrible. So it did bounce us around quite a bit there, and we had some whole issue with some trailer issues, broke some springs. That's a whole nother issue that I'm doing another video about. But all in all, as far as the truck goes, I'm happy with it. I love the way that it turned out. I will say when I first did it, you could see a lot of, they call it tiger striping in the paint. I went over it again. You can still see it a little bit if there's full sun out and you're really looking for it. But I love the way that it turned out. Like, to me, it's my truck now. It'll be paid for here in another couple of months. And I'm going to drive this thing till the wheels fall off of it. And then I'm probably going to put new wheels on it and drive it some more and do it again. But it's only got 150,000 miles on it, which isn't anything for a Cummins. So I'm hopefully thinking that it's going to last us a good long while and last for many more adventures. So if you're interested in this project, just follow along as we release the videos on it. Hopefully I'm going to do this more in a DIY setting where it's going to give you an idea of how to do this stuff. If you're interested in doing like a bed liner paint job or something like that. But thanks guys for following me around. You're going to be seeing a lot of pictures of this truck because I'm pretty proud of it. Occasionally I get some comments of, oh, you just completely ruined the resale value of that truck. Well, like I said, it's got 150,000 miles on it. I plan on driving at least another 500,000 miles. So it's not going to be worth a whole lot when I get done with it anyway. And I would still argue, I get enough like compliments and stuff on it. I think that I'm not one of those people that thinks because I put a new radio on a truck that it's worth more money. But I don't think that I hurt the resale value of it at all. What do you think? You think that I hurt the resale value, or you think it's worth the same? You think it's worth more? Tell me what you guys think. So just leave that in the comments, but I'll be back with you next week and we'll get this deal started.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.